This is Hums of the Lovin' Spoonful by the Lovin' Spoonful. Let's talk records. On February 9th, in 1964, the Beatles made their first American TV appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show. This day had a profound effect on many people out there, including the folk scene in New York City. That night, Cass Elliot, who would later be in the legendary Mamas and the Papas, threw a get-together at her place to watch the Fab Four on TV. At the party, believing they would hit it off and start a band together, Elliot played musical matchmaker and introduced New York native folk musician John Sebastian to Canadian folk musician Zal Janowski. Back then, Janowski was in a folk group called the Halifax Three. After they broke up, he joined a group called the Mugwumps, started by Cass Elliot, who also recruited John Sebastian to play their harmonica. After the Mugwumps broke up, Sebastian and Janowski decided to start their own band. Around the same time, Sebastian met Eric Jacobson, who lived in his apartment building. They bonded over their love for similar music and, of course, the Beatles. In fact, he was so influenced by the Beatles that he decided to quit the folk band that he was in and produce electric folk music. In late 1964, bass player Steve Boone and drummer Joe Butler met Sebastian and Janowski at a folk show in Greenwich Village. Although Boone was not particularly into folk music, they bonded over their love of rock and roll like Elvis Presley, Chuck Berry, and also Motown, and more. The four of them soon started playing as the Lovin' Spoonful all around town. They were signed to Kama Sutra Records and released their first album, Do You Believe in Magic, in 1965, which reached number 32 on the albums chart. The title track went to number 9, and the song Did You Ever Have to Make Up Your Mind reached number 2 on the singles chart. Their second album, Daydream, followed in 1966, and it reached number 10 on the top LPs chart. The title track for this album reached number 2. They also did the soundtrack for the movie What's Up, Tiger Lily that same year. For their next album, the Lovin' Spoonful set out to make many different types of music, like rock and roll, pop, country, folk, etc. They began recording at Bell Sound Studio and Columbia Records' 7th Avenue studio in New York. In May of 1965, however, Janowski and Boone were found in possession of marijuana and arrested in San Francisco. The police told Janowski that they would deport him back to Canada unless they informed them who was their supplier. At first they refused, but then gave in due to the impending deportation. This put a strain on the band between Sebastian and Butler's side and Janowski and Boone's. This information was kept under wraps for a while until the underground press got a hold of the story and news of the bust and the snitching got out. This whole affair somewhat tarnished the image of the band with the counterculture, which caused some of their shows to be picketed by the hippies in the West Coast. Summer in the City was the first single, released first as a non-album single on July 4th, 1966. John Sebastian got the song from a song originally called It's a Different World that his brother Mark had recorded on tape a while back ago when he was 14 years old. Sebastian altered the lyrics and changed the original bossa nova-inspired style. The only line on the original song that he kept was But at Night is a Different World. Boone came up with the middle 8th part, and they decided that it would elevate that section to incorporate city sounds like car horns and things of that nature. The song reached number 1 on the singles chart. Rain on the Roof was the second single, released ahead of the album in October of 1966. It's a much different and softer sound than the rocking sound of their previous single. The band initially worried that the more delicate sound of the song would alienate their new rock fans, but Sebastian argued that they shouldn't release songs of similar genres back to back, preferring variety. The song reached number 10 on the chart. Hums of the Lovin' Spoonful by the Lovin' Spoonful was released November 1966 on Kama Sutra Records. The record reached number 14 on the Billboard Pop Albums chart. Summer in the City and Rain on the Roof were included. It was produced by Eric Jacobson. Nashville Cats was the third single, released same day as the album. The band became inspired when they played in Nashville, prompting them to explore country music. The title is a note to the Nashville A-Team, the legendary group of session musicians in Nashville. Bobby Darin had a top 40 hit with a song on the album called Lovin' You, reaching number 32 that same year. John Sebastian was disappointed that Nashville Cats did not cross over to the country chart, but the legendary country duo Flats and Scruggs covered the song and it went to number 54 on the country chart in 1967. Johnny Cash and June Carter Cash covered the song Darling Companion on the legendary Johnny Cash at San Quentin live album in 1969. Dolly Parton also covered Lovin' You on her 1977 album Here You Come Again.